we go. I got the magic star.
Okay.
I can do nothing wrong, so right now I'm going to share with you today on Things I Love. We're talking all about video games. Hang in there. I'm going to beat my kids real quick. I'll be right back.
You just ran into a wall.
Oh. Welcome back to Things I Love here on show number 19. We're going to be talking all about video games today. Yeah, we've never talked about video games, and we're going to talk about that today because just a few days ago we celebrated Video Game Day on July 8th. And so I thought, you know, what a great time to kind of bring this subject up and talk about it a little bit. I've wrestled a little bit with how to talk about this. You know, I'm not really a gamer, but I really felt like this is something to talk about because it is something that shaped me and molded me as a child all the way up into my adulthood. And so today we're going to talk about that. If you're new to this channel, make sure that you subscribe, hit that button down below, and hit that bell to be notified of these weekly positive videos all about Star Wars and Disney and Lego, and today, video games. Just keeping it positive here at Things I Love. And then give us a big thumbs up if you like this video. Well, let's get right into it. When I heard about Video Game Day on July 8th, and there's a little bit of debate as to whether or not it's Video Game Day or National Video Game Day or whatever, but it's on July 8th, and so I just want to talk about that today, and more importantly, kind of talk about my history with video games. And the whole point of me sharing that with you is to get the conversation started. You're going to be hearing about some things today, some old game consoles and some new games that I want you to talk about. I want you to put down in the comments, you know, what you started with and how you played games when you were a kid and what you're playing with today. And so let's get the conversation started. Does anybody remember Pong? Do you remember Pong? It was that game that may or may not have been played on a black and white TV. For me, it was a black and white TV, and it had the little bars that went side to side and hit the ball back and forth, and that was pretty much it. Well, we had, I discovered, I went and did some research this week, and we had a Super Pong unit. And the only difference in Super Pong and Pong was that it had 4 games instead of the 1 game of the ball going back and forth and hitting the paddles. But really, it was kind of the same game. It was just maybe more paddles and more balls or little dots on the screen. But that was pretty much it. It was a 2-player unit. It had little paddles that I wish I still had it, but it had these 2 little paddles, and ours was hooked up to a black and white TV. We would change the contrast, you know, the red, blue, green on it, and that was about it. But that was my beginnings into video games. Like I said, it was a 2-player unit. It came out in 1976. I was born in '74, and so I remember playing it probably between 79 and 84, and so we had it for a while after it came out, and that's, you know, my brother and I would go sit down and we would play Pong, and it was a blast. And then fast forward, we had a TI 99 4A, Texas Instruments 99 4A personal computer. It was came out in 1981, and what this did is it hooked up to your TV. And at this point, we had upgraded from the black and white to one of those huge console televisions that was like a piece of furniture. But we would hook up our TI 99 4A to that, and we would play games. And this came with cartridges, like cartridges that you would just slide into the side of the unit there. And you would play games like Alpiner. I loved Alpiner. Basically, you're a dude climbing a mountain. That's it. Frogger. Maybe you remember Frogger, where you're a little frog trying to cross the busy street. Parsec. Another game I loved. Pole Position. That game kind of stuck with me for years to come, and you'll see that when we talk about it a little bit later. But Pole Position was that kind of the first car game that came out. One of the first car games that came out. Then it had a bunch of educational games, but who wants to talk about that? It had math games and reading games, and I remember the Oregon Trail was a cool game that we played, and it was just fun. It was fun, and it was 1-player games, but I remember always playing it with my brother. he was always there in my memory playing that with him. And you know, I mentioned on a few shows back that he passed away a couple years ago. And so these are some good memories for you. So did you have a Pong? Did you have a Super Pong? Maybe you had a TI, Texas Instruments personal computer. Put those down in the comments. I want to hear about it. And we move forward a little bit to the Atari 2600. There were several different versions of the Atari, different iterations there, but we had the Atari 2600, came out in 1982, and it was a 2-player unit. And it came with a joystick, looked like this. This is the one that came out a few years ago that was kind of a remake to plug into your TV. It has a bunch of games built into it, but this was just like the joystick that we had for the Atari. And we played games like Pac-Man and Space Invaders and Asteroids and again, Frogger a little bit easier on this one. Didn't have to use the keystrokes on the TI-99 4A. And then Breakout, Super Breakout. I loved Breakout. It was kind of like Pong. So it's kind of my nostalgia going back to Pong. Played Breakout, and it had the paddle at the bottom, and it shot the balls up and hit the bars at the top and would break them, and then go to the next level. Mario Brothers, kind of the beginning into Mario there, and Centipede and Q*bert. Loved Q*bert. That was a fun game. Donkey Kong, another kind of Nintendo game that started a little earlier. Dig Dug. Remember Dig Dug and Joust. Joust was kind of a strange game. You know, you're on the back of these ostriches and jousting each other. And then again, Pole Position. Again, Pole Position was back in with the Atari. And then kind of the beginning to my video games. Star Wars was Star Wars on Atari. Loved that game. Loved that game. And then also had a game, I think they had E.T. was very popular. But yeah, that was the Atari 2600. Loved that. Had a lot of fun there. And then we get into the world of Nintendo. 1985 kind of changed everything for everybody in the gaming world. And I was right on board with that. So even though I'm not a gamer today, like I said, video games, they meant a lot to me as I was growing up. And 1985, we got the Nintendo NES. And I don't remember if we got it in 85 or 86, probably in 86, because in 85 it just had a release in New York and LA. But 86 got the Nintendo Entertainment System, 2-player unit. Had all kinds of games with that. The whole Super Mario Brothers franchise. There's a whole debate in my family as to which is the best one. 1, 2, 3. And then the whole world of Super Mario that goes from there. And then Legend of Zelda. I love Legend of Zelda. Still play that today. The different games in the franchise there. And then you had Punch-Out, and let's be clear. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was the game. They changed it after the whole incident of the ear biting with Mike Tyson and got rid of his name in there and went to Punch-Out. But Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was it. That was the jam. It was my jam. Loved it. Contra, Super C, loved those 2 games. And then one of my favorite games, kind of hidden in the game world, was Legendary Wings. I loved Legendary Wings. I found one the other day at a flea market, but I don't have my console anymore, so it didn't matter. But it was kind of a top-down flyer where you're these kind of these Greek gods flying through the air and shooting down everything below you. And anyway, it was a fun game. It was kind of different from the norm out there. Metroid, loved that game. Mario Party, as we get into when my girls came along and we kept playing Nintendo. Mario Party was a great game that had a bunch of mini games that we would play together as a family. Wii Sports, oh man, we can get crazy with the Wii Sports, the tennis especially. Mario Dance Revolution. That game was our whole family's jam. We loved it. We do not have it anymore. We moved a lot over the past couple of decades and don't have it anymore. But man, we used to have a lot of fun with that. The little pad that went on the ground, and we'd be dancing so much that pad would be shifting around. But we had a great time with that. Played all the Mario songs as you're dancing. Epic Mickey is a game that I've loved just because of my Disney fandom. It's a great game as well. Epic Mickey 2. And so yeah, so I still have my Game Boy from years ago. You know, I don't have a lot of my toys. We've talked about how my mom said, don't ever sell your toys, and I did, and I regret it. But this I still have. It still works only if I plug it in, because it is like had some bad batteries back here, and it's all filled with the acid, and it's just old. It doesn't work unless you plug it in. But if you plug it in, you can still play some of my games here. Got Tetris. I loved that game. Got Operation C, which is kind of like Contra or Super C. World Cup Soccer. Got that there. Got Super Mario Land. Always had to have the Super Mario game there. Nemesis. That was an awesome game. Kind of a space flight game. And Donkey Kong Land with the special edition yellow there. So I still got these games. Still play. Honestly, play Tetris more than anything, but still play that. And just wanted to show you some of the old technology here. This is what they called a light boy. A light boy. So you would put that up like that. You would plug in your Game Boy, and you turn it on, and then it would have a magnifying glass here, and it would just make the screen bigger, and you could play it in the dark. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? But I still have this. Apparently it has somebody else's name on the back of it. Sorry about that, but apparently I won it in a swap or something, I don't know. But got the Game Boy, loved that. And then, so from the beginning I've had the Nintendo NES, came out in 85, 86, the Game Boy 1989, Super NES came out in 1990, N64 came out as a 4-player unit in 1996, GameCube, man, I had a lot of GameCube games, I loved that. In 2001 it was 4-player, and then the Wii was 4-player, and then that came out in 2006, and then the Wii U in 2012, and then I have not gotten the Switch yet. Here's the Wii U. Loved this. Still play this. Still got games on this. Still like that. Never got the Switch. As my girls got older, not as interested, and just haven't gotten that. But I just a couple of years ago, actually last Christmas, my lovely wife got me the Nintendo 2DS XL. Love this, have a lot of fun playing around with this as well. And once again, not a gamer, but I do love video games, and I thought, let's talk about it since July 8th was Video Game Day. But here's the connection to all of it. As I mentioned earlier, as I played Pong, and as I played on the TI-99 4A, whether it was a 2-player game or a 1-player game or the Atari, my brother was always there with me, and at other times my sister might have been there, and even though I had difficult upbringing with my parents getting divorced and there was a lot of fighting in the house, I do have some good memories of them being there, us playing games, and there being kind of no arguing going on. And so I've got good memories of video games. I'm very nostalgic about it. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about that today. And that's one reason why you didn't hear me talk about Sony PlayStation, you didn't hear me talk about Xbox. I'm not a gamer. Nintendo is the console for our family because it is family oriented, and we love to play. We can get pretty hardcore with Mario Kart. Yeah! Oh, Speedy!
Dylan first.
No!
And I'm still in first place though. So.
What is going on? I'm not gonna lie, but we have fun. We have fun as a family, and so just want to talk about that with you today, just so we can get the conversation going. So make sure that you put down in the comments. I want to hear if you had a Pong unit, if you had anything maybe prior to that. If you had the Atari, any iteration of the Atari units, if you had Nintendo, if you're a Sony or an Xbox player, I want to hear about that. I want to hear about your memories of good times playing games growing up, and then today as you play with your families. Let's talk about that as well. All right. Well, that is it for today. Once again, if you are not a subscriber to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and hit that notifications bell to be notified of these weekly positive videos. Give us a big thumbs up if you like this video, and make sure that you share it out there in the Twitter sphere, on Facebook, on Instagram, and wherever you are. share it, share it, share it so we can spread the love. All right? This has been Things I Love with me, Mark Edington. Just a bit about me to help you be more you. All right, let's play a little bit of Tetris here. Get this game going. Oh, I gotta plug it in.